Why did Rachel Notley go to the global warming party in Paris? I mean, let's be honest, we know the real reason she went. Who wouldn't want to go to Paris, a luxury junket paid for by taxpayers, gorgeous city? And of course, she needs to bring her staff. She brought her chief of staff, Brian Topp, the union boss. He had to go. Of course he did. I mean, in fairness, if you worked for Rachel Notley and you saw she was going to this massive champagne party in Paris, City of Lights, and it's free, wouldn't you try to find an excuse to go too? I mean, to see the Eiffel Tower one last time before it's blown up? But other than living high off the hog, why did she go? I mean, seriously, why? Provinces don't sign foreign treaties. Provinces don't negotiate with other countries. Under our Constitution, foreign affairs is exclusively a federal jurisdiction under Section 91 of our Constitution Act. It makes about as much sense for a premier to go to a NATO meeting. I mean, premiers don't do that. Oh, unless it's a luxury trip to Paris. So what does she say about it? What's her reasoning? Here, she said, I think it's just very, very important for people to see that they're dealing with a different thing now in Alberta, and hopefully they'll view our efforts to engage in international trade more positively as a result, unquote. Well, hang on. Alberta's big exports are oil and natural gas. Those are sold in international commodities markets. We're competing with oil and gas from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, now from Iran, Nigeria, Venezuela, Russia, those kind of places, a lot of them OPEC dictatorships. No one cares where the oil and gas comes from. Consumers don't even know. It's not like a gas pump is labeled with country of origin. Do you think people in China or India or Japan know where gasoline comes from that they fill up with at the pump? Do you think they know in the United States? I wish they did, by the way. I wish that our ethical oil was labeled so it would have an advantage over Saudi oil at the pump. But there is not a country in the world that picks and chooses their oil for political reasons, other than if maybe there are sanctions on a country like there used to be on Iran. So listen to her excuse again. I think it's just very, very important for people to see that they're dealing with a different thing now in Alberta, and hopefully they'll view our efforts to engage in international trade more positively as a result. Okay, how does going to Paris for a global warming party affect our sales of oil? Barack Obama just killed the Keystone XL pipeline to the U.S. He did so after Justin Trudeau was elected on a promise of a carbon tax. So Obama doesn't care about Canadian politics. I mean, this was done for U.S. political reasons to please his own country. Never once has Obama ever told Canada that he would approve the pipeline if we brought in a carbon tax or something. And he won't do it now. I mean, Keystone XL is dead until a Republican president is elected. No one at the Paris party can change that. So what does she mean? Does she mean that our potential customers in Asia, countries like China, India, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, that they would be more likely to buy our oil if we brought in a carbon tax, if we go to a Paris party? But they've already said they'll buy our oil as soon as they can get it. Chinese interests have actually a minority stake in the pipeline called the Northern Gateway Pipeline. As soon as it's built and pumping, they will buy as much oil as we can sell. Right now, those countries are buying oil from Saudi Arabia and Iran. Do you think they're picky? Do you think they're discriminating customers? They're desperate for oil and gas. They literally buy oil and gas from countries that sponsor terrorism. Do you think China and India and Japan are holding off of buying Canadian oil because they're waiting for Rachel Notley to say or do something? No, what's holding up international sales is Notley herself and other anti-oil sands activists, other anti-pipeline activists. There she is on the left of this picture at an anti-oil, anti-pipelines rally. Notley herself opposes pipelines, including the Northern Gateway, even though that pipeline is already approved by the National Energy Board. It's her anti-oil, anti-pipeline friends who oppose it too. It's not some foreign country. It's Justin Trudeau himself, our prime minister. He opposes Northern Gateway. He told his transport minister to ban oil tankers off the BC coast. Rachel Notley doesn't need to convince foreign countries in Paris to buy our oil. They want to. They're waiting. She needs to convince Justin Trudeau to stop the shipping embargo he's put on Alberta exports. She needs to tell her environmental extremist friends in her own circles to stop blocking the Northern Gateway pipeline. Oh, and there's someone else she should talk to also. Yeah, Rachel Notley should talk to herself. Maybe try to convince herself to stop opposing pipelines. And you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money partying in Paris to do that. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.